I pay $30 a month for my gym membership, but $160 a month for my yoga studio membership. What about you?
I just canceled my gym membership, so $0 a month.
Freebies.
I know.
All right, are gym memberships worth it?
Let's talk about it. Welcome to Net with Lizzy and Lissa, where we analyze hidden costs and empower you to make your own damn decisions in life. Each episode covers a different facet of life, and at the end of each episode, we each give our takes on whether we think something is net positive or net negative.
I'm Lizzy, a strategist and consultant with almost 20 years of experience in finance and investing.
And I'm Lissa, a personal finance expert and a certified financial planner. We're best friends who talk about money
And everything else.
Are gym memberships worth it?
First up, running the numbers on gym memberships.
According to the Health and Fitness Association, 24% of the population in the United States had gym memberships in 2023. Finder.com reports that number being closer to 32% of people, so I'm pretty sure it ranges from like 1 in 4 people have a gym membership. That feels right in my groups.
That feels lower than what
Really?
I thought.
But I think you're around a lot of
I'm around a lot of athletes.
Yeah.
Okay, Finder.com also says that 44% of gym members spend less than $30 a month on the gym. The second biggest portion of members, at 30%, pay over $90 monthly. That's a big
Right, so you pay like either a
range.
little bit or a lot.
Or a lot.
Right.
Actually, that feels like that tracks.
That
it's
feels
either, the kind of bare
the
bones,
YMCA,
straightforward,
some
or
community
you're all
gym.
about it.
Exercise.com reports that up to 67% of gym memberships go unused, while the remaining 33% go to the gym regularly.
I believe that.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Uh-huh.
And it's not like you never use it. It means like you pop in once, like just
Infrequently,
infrequently.
Interestingly, they also say that 20% of gym goers are consistent for more than a year. And on the other end of the spectrum, 20% of gym members pay and never go.
Right. Okay. So that there is that spectrum.
Yeah. Okay.
Of like,
So there's
never
that
go.
just this normal distribution.
Yeah. Go infrequently.
Yeah.
Go frequently, and are all about it.
All right.
Well, we know there's more to life than numbers and statistics, so let's talk about it. Are these gym memberships worth it?
All right, Lise. You recently canceled your gym membership.
I did.
So let's hear about it.
I was frustrated. Lots of frustration here.
Rant.
Okay. The main source of frustration was that they raised the price every year, the last 2 years in a row in January. And it wasn't insignificant because this was an expensive gym membership. So the numbers I had are, when we first signed up, my husband Alan and I, there was a monthly rate, and we got a discount because it's near UCLA. I'm an alumni, and so we started off basically paying $280 each, right, per month. That's our engineer. If you heard the whoop, that's where that came from. So $280 a month. Granted, I have the Amex Platinum card, which gives you about $25 back a month of a credit for this specific membership at Equinox. That's where the gym was. And so that's what we started at. And we felt like if we go enough times, it'll pay for itself. It's a nice, big, clean gym. For me personally, there's a basketball court, there's a swimming pool, a nice, big, clean one, and which I use. And they have classes, and ones that I liked, yoga classes, HIIT classes, right? So if I take enough of those, it kind of matches your $160 a month membership, right? So, but then what happened, why I ended up canceling, was after that first year, immediately after signing up, they were like, oh, by the way, that UCLA discount is actually going to be increased. It's going to be reduced. So like your membership's going to cost anywhere between $25 to $40 more per month for each of you. So we're like, okay, fine, whatever. Now we're paying $305 a month each, right? So then after that first year, they raised it, and it became around $322 each. And then this last January, they're like, we're raising it again. So it was $340 each. And so there's two of us.
Yeah.
And we weren't going as frequently as we thought we would.
Yeah.
So now we're paying almost $700 between the two of us in gym memberships. We were like, got to cut that out. Our wedding's coming up. We got other expenses.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I have a home gym.
Yes, you do.
So there you go. That's why we canceled. I was just annoyed by it. It was more the principle because they didn't offer. There was no new amenities. And here's another annoyance with this particular gym. The reason Alan really liked this gym was, one, they have a cafe on the downstairs, and they have a rooftop area where you can work out outside.
Yeah.
For at least half the year last year, the rooftop was closed, and for the since we joined, the cafe was closed. They finally opened, and it's not a free cafe. You're still paying more money, but it was closed that entire time. They were like remodeling it.
Oh yeah.
So it's like you're not giving us more amenities, but you're charging more to keep up with inflation. That doesn't add up for us.
Yeah, no, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it feels weird because it's like, right, if you're paying that much for a gym, like I hope you're making enough money as it is, as in your income to justify it. So I felt kind of being like we were being nitpicky, like, you know, like if we have it like that to be going to this kind of gym.
No, you want to get a value for it, especially if they're
principle.
increasing the price.
Yeah, it was the principle for me. So I was like, nah, cancel.
Yeah.
Done.
Okay, so you touched on it a little bit, but what to you initially justified the high price gym, especially relative to having a home gym that you had invested money into?
Right. So during the pandemic is when I invested in making half of my garage a home gym, and I spent $3,000 on that, on equipment, on painting the walls, on like getting a Bosu ball, like random things like that. And it's great. All that equipment is mine. I own it. I have a bench. I have barbell, dumbbell, squat rack. I have everything. Yeah. And part of getting the gym membership was when Alan moved here, he really felt like he wanted to be out because he works from home and he's new to the city. He wanted more opportunities, not so much to make friends, but just to be out and
of the
do
house.
things.
Yeah.
So I was like, and he loves working out. So I'm like, that's one area that you could do. And so when he was getting his gym membership, I was like, well, that'd be fun if I come with you. Plus, I realized something about myself, like, as much as I have this home gym and I do play basketball and things like that, I am very motivated from a fitness perspective when I'm in company with other people. Yeah. In yoga classes, like I do yoga videos on YouTube at home, but it doesn't compare to being in a room of people doing the same thing. Yeah. And so I found that out about myself. So Alan was like, "Well, get a gym membership too," and so I did, a little reluctantly because I was like, "Now we're paying double," but there is the upside that we can go to the gym together. I can take classes that I didn't have access to before, and so that's what justified it. Plus having the income for it. Yeah. It wasn't going to break our budget.
Yeah. And you are the type of person that's going to use a lot of the different amenities of a gym, like taking the classes, using the pool, and it's not just a weight room.
So anytime I went, I would shower there. I use a lot of conditioner in my thick hair. I would just use like half the bottle of conditioner. Yeah. Like, because at home, I'm like, well, I might as well use the product that's there. Right. I used it up.
And I also would say if you're going to shower at the gym, like as part of your regular routine, a nice gym.
Clean gym.
A clean gym, not like nasty showers or like with nice toiletries. Yeah. That does make a big difference.
Yeah. So that's me. Tell us about your $30 gym.
Yeah. So I have had a gym in my home, like my family home I've lived in my whole life. The weight room.
The living room is a weight room.
Is a weight room. It's been a weight room my entire life. So like being active, lifting weights, that has been a thing my whole life. But for a long time I've known about myself, I don't like to work out at home. Not my thing. I will do it if I have to, but I like getting out of the house, going to the gym, being around other people who are working out. It energizes me even if I don't engage with them. That's by far my preferred.
Sometimes you don't want to engage.
Sometimes I don't want to engage with them. God, I get asked about my tattoos every time. But yeah, I like that environment. And so I've learned that about myself and accepted that about myself. So I had an LA Fitness membership for years and years and years. I got like the higher end membership when I lived in Irvine because there was like a premier,
Like a signature, yeah.
signature, yeah. And at that time, one, it was like legitimately a really nice one, and
Yeah.
it came with perks and towel service and all this stuff. Now that is like meaningless.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been an LA Fitness member for a million years, but the closest one to me was like 15 minutes away. It just became a little inconvenient. And so I recently joined a Crunch in that's a little closer, very close. And what I was looking for this time was actually different. I'm not a big class person. I'll take them sparingly. Although they have some cool ones that I've never seen at other gyms, like more CrossFit style, because they have a huge outdoor workout area.
Okay.
And that was a big selling point. They have like basically a half football field. They have sleds, and all that functional fitness stuff. And I've been using that, which has been really cool. So, and they have interesting, it's like tiered membership. So the minimum is like $10 a month.
Oh, wow.
Which is so affordable.
You can go.
So I think, I can't remember exactly because I have the $30 one, which includes the pool and the outdoor area. And so if you just want to use like the weight room, I think it's 10. If you want to do classes, it's like 20.
But unlimited visits.
Yeah.
Okay.
Isn't that cool though?
That's
I thought
really
that was
cool.
great. Like you
Yeah.
can kind of pick what you want. $10 a
sure.
month, like anyone could
I
afford
mean,
that.
what we were paying for Equinox, we could have a whole classroom of people get
Right?
this membership.
Yeah. And it's nice. It's
Sponsored
not
gym membership.
It's not amazing, right? It's not like the newest, but it
has what you need.
has what I need. I mean, the equipment is really good. They have like a lot of interesting machines that are cool. It's not like sparkling clean. I'll say that.
Right.
But it works.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's my gym membership. And then I have a yoga studio unlimited membership. I may cancel it. I was going to taking double classes, so like back-to-back Ashtanga yoga and then yin a couple times a week. And so it justified the unlimited. Because I've been so busy, I haven't been going like hardly at all. And so I may just cancel it and buy a class package. But I will generally pay for a yoga studio like this, which is kind of different than like a gym yoga class that's more fitness based. This is like a really beautiful environment and they have incense and it's more like the kind of spiritual aspects. And I really appreciate that. And they have great teachers. So that's why I pay for that.
Yeah.
That's probably the most I've paid for yoga studios in the past, but somewhere around there, like 100 to 200.
So yeah, you have some regular fitness costs. So obviously off topic to gym membership, I also do pay a Peloton subscription every month because I have a Peloton at home, which gives me that option. And I believe Alan has a fitness app that he pays for. It's very low subscription cost every month, but it has like HIIT workouts on it because he's very motivated by that. Like he could be at our home gym or at the gym, but he'll do the workout
if he has a program.
Yeah. So there's that too. So we did have more than just a gym regular monthly cost. We had other fitness related costs.
Sure.
Too.
And I've done that too. Like not currently, but I've often done like paid for this person's program to follow their workouts and that kind of
Which
thing.
is interesting because if we're talking about like our gym membership's worth it, and there's that stat of how many, like 20% go completely unused, like people just keep them or forget about the subscription and don't ever go. It's like, is it because they have other fitness things they're paying for and going to, like or
are they inactive?
Are
right?
they
I'd be curious to know that, right? Or are they going for a run? You know, you can be active for free.
Yeah. Or just busy.
Or you know, out of the habit.
Which makes it, you know, we'll get to it at the end when we tell you our takes, but if it's such a relative subjective decision of whether or not your gym membership is worth it. But I'm glad that we actually have the kind of the different ends of the spectrum of like a premium luxury gym versus like, you know, a community small gym that has everything you need.
Yeah.
Because...
And I have looked at Equinox recently.
Yeah.
There's not one close to me now, but an area I was going to move had one right there. And it's something I've definitely considered. But my thought was like, because I'm not a big class person, like it just didn't, so much of the cost comes from things I wouldn't use, or the value, I guess, that for what I need it for personally, it would mostly just be paying for the nice place.
Right.
There is something I will say, I'm sure, about clientele, right?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And
We get celebrities at our gym.
yeah, and just being surrounded by presumably other well-off people.
Yeah.
If that's the kind of people you want to meet,
a need for
or
networking.
Networking, or if you want to date someone, that's definitely different. There's a gym chain. There's only like a handful of them called John Reed. There's 2 here in LA, and I think like some in Texas. One of my good friends is a member there, and so I went and worked out with him, and it's like a nightclub. Like, it's cool.
Really?
It's designed like a cool like hotel, Airbnb. There's a DJ. It's all dark and there's lights.
Oh, wow.
It is really cool. But the interesting thing is, because it's a premium membership, I think probably less than Equinox. I want to say like 180 or 200. Apparently in that particular one, you tend to get people who are very fit. So there's a lot of very, very fit people, which was important to my friend. Like, he wanted to not be the biggest guy in the gym. And I get that, like from a motivation standpoint. But it also has a lot of influencers because it's kind of like flashy. It's very Instagrammable. So a lot of people there are,
There's one in Santa Monica, right?
There's one in Santa Monica,
so we looked that one up when we were trying to figure out what gym to go to. We didn't actually go visit.
Yeah.
But we wanted one that was in the middle of the $30 and the $300. But the problem was proximity to our place.
It's not quite as,
it's like, okay, we save a little bit of money, but now we're spending an extra 30 minutes in the car. It's just...
To me, proximity is the biggest indicator of whether I will use it. For the longest time, I lived literally across the street from my gym, like actually, like walk out my apartment across the street.
Right.
And either that or going on my way home from work, those were the periods I was most consistent. Because it's like, I have no excuse. I don't have to get in the car. It feels far away. It takes extra time. So that's a huge, huge factor.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, because even the one that we were paying that was really expensive, on a good morning and afternoon, 7-minute drive max. Yeah. Max. When there's
parking, though.
Oh, yeah, parking. We'd actually have to pay $2 for parking at the time. So
that's a factor.
It's a factor.
It's a factor.
It all adds up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But like you said, for me, too, there was the intangibles that I feel more motivated around others. Another upside to some bougie gyms, not all, because I've been to other Equinoxes and sports clubs, but is I felt like I never had to wait for a machine. Maybe it was the time I was going, but even then the machines were always clean.
Yeah. There's definitely probably something to that. Definitely probably.
Yeah.
Because, for example, if you're part of like a LA Fitness, 24-hour fitness, like a big mass gym, like a couple phenomenons. There's the like after work rush, 5 p.m. is the worst time to go. But there's also the more recently, like the 3 p.m. freshmen in high school. It's like 6 young guys who don't know what they're doing that are all working in together. So they're going to have a machine for like an hour.
Right.
You're not going to get as many of those younger people paying, $300 a month.
Higher tier gyms.
Yeah.
One other thing that I just thought of as well is city versus suburb, because I'm thinking about where my sister and mom live, and when we go to visit for the holidays, sometimes Alan or I will pay for a day pass at a gym, $10, whatever, but it's a nice gym, and there'll be an LA Fitness that I'm like, this is nicer, better, cleaner than the Equinox we're paying $300 for.
Oh, yeah.
Without a doubt.
Oh, it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Suburb gym. I mean, I'm in the suburbs. My gym's not like amazing.
Yeah.
Aesthetically, it's not amazing. The equipment is very good. But yeah, like I said, the Irvine LA Fitness, gorgeous, brand new, you clean.
Yeah. And I think that just goes to like the congestion in the city of like more people coming through and using it, right?
Yeah,
more wear and tear,
more dense area,
harder to keep clean.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. That's a great point.
So I'm not like tied to the brand Equinox, and it's nothing to do so much with luxury for me. But if I could get those same amenities in a $30, $50,
Totally.
$100 gym with proximity to my house, like I'd probably check it out for sure.
Going from the one LA Fitness that was so clean and nice to then moving and going to in a very dense area.
Yeah.
And it also is a big gym, but it would just get like the windows would fog up with like sweat. And I was going there when COVID happened, and it took me so long to go back after things opened up, because it was just that feeling of like all the germs are going to be in the air. It's kind of gross.
Right.
And I would use the pool there. I know that's a big thing. If you use the pool, or if you use like any wet facilities, you want them to be clean. I trained for a triathlon swimming in that pool, and it was fine, but you have had experiences.
Oh gosh, I have a pool story. I don't want to put any company brand on blast, because I can't even remember if it was like a 24 or LA Fitness.
Yeah.
But it was, I know the gym, I can see it in my head. I go through swimming phases. So every couple years I'm like, all right, next couple months I'm going to get fit by swimming, because it's good on your knees. It feels nice. It's very meditative. And so I was going through a swimming phase, and some of these gyms, like, in order to clean it, they just pack it with so much chlorine, so like it smells when you walk in, and then you think it's clean because of the chlorine. And there was one time that I knew I shouldn't have used it. For some reason, it had kind of like a yellowish tint.
Oh.
Like I knew better, but I was like, I got to get my workout in. I knew better. And then so after that, I won't get into the details. Just know that I got an infection of sorts. And I couldn't pinpoint, like, where did I get this? Because I had gone nowhere else but the gym that past week. And I'm like, okay. So I went to the doctor. I had to take antibiotics, get rid of the infection. I'm like, I'm 99% certain it was the pool. And because of that, that's kind of why now if I'm vetting a gym, I vet the pool.
Yeah. It's a great indicator.
It's a great indicator for me of whether or not I want to go to this gym. And it's funny that I use that as an indicator, because I don't use the gym. I use it 1 or 2 months out of the year. It's not like
the pool, you mean?
The pool.
Yeah. But it's representative of their standards of cleanliness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why, people gasp when I don't share that often that, we spend $200, $300 on a gym.
Yeah.
A lot of people have their own opinions of what that means and what that looks like. But I'm just like, look, I know my standards of quality and what value it brings to us. And look, we made the decision that it's no longer valuable to us.
Well, that's the other thing I was going to bring up is I've kind of loosely had this rule in my life that, like, there's within reason and, not putting myself in debt, but like there's 2 things I'm not going to worry about my spending on: books and fitness.
Yeah.
Assuming I'm utilizing it, but like I will spend on my health, I'll spend on meal prep if I want to, I'll spend on fitness equipment, on recovery, because there's nothing more important than your health. And so it wouldn't put it past myself to pay for a more expensive gym if I thought I would get value out of it personally. And so it comes back to like your budget and spending aligned with your values and your lifestyle.
Yeah.
If you have a very active lifestyle and that's really important to you, by all means.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why you see that like extra 20% that pays $90 or more that are going to go to a CrossFit gym or like an F45 or a specific like Olympic weightlifting gym, or
that's what you like, that's what motivates
it's your interest, your hobby. Yeah, you want to be around like-minded people.
Which is, now it's making me think, like, this is the very premise of Net, our podcast, is that you get to decide what's valuable to you.
For sure.
Because gym is one of those things throughout my life, because this isn't the first time I've gone to Equinox. Back when I started working, making 6 figures, for the first time, I started going to a nicer gym in Equinox as well, paying, I think it was like $180 at the time. That's why I'm like, it's crazy how much it's changed. So it was like, but still, that was like top tier, like that's very expensive for a gym. And I remember like different friends like, what the hell? Like, I could buy a new pair of shoes with that. And I'm like, I get that.
You could if that was what was important to you.
And so it's just now that I have a better understanding of people's own financial money stories. We're all coming from different areas, and people can judge and think what they want, but like, I'm confident in my financial decisions, and that's why it makes it tricky, because it's for other people, like, it makes it tricky in what I share and don't share. I'm very transparent, like I'm saying it on this podcast, but in the back of my head, I'm like, I hope people don't
People are going to have their preconceived notions, or their associations with that.
Yeah.
And what people think of you is none of your business.
Oh, I have another thought to share about Bougie Gyms.
Yeah.
This is qualitative observation from just one person sample size.
Uh-huh.
I feel like people are meaner because it's a mix. I've seen mean people, as in like they know they're paying so much for the gym, and so if there's one towel on the ground or something out of whack, they're like, this is ridiculous. This is whatever, right? Or one weight is not put back on the rack and out of place. It's like, this is ridiculous. I'm paying $300 for a gym, right? You get more of that.
Yeah, I don't like that.
Yeah, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
I can see where it comes from, but you don't really get that like at a more busy gym that you're paying less for.
The expectations are lower.
Yeah, it's just like, all right, where the hell are these like 25s? I'll find them.
Yeah.
Whatever. This is
and that's a trade-off.
Yeah, it's
right?
a trade-off.
Because there's like gym etiquette.
Yeah.
And you know, standards, and you're kind of part of a community in a gym, and the more you take care of it, the better off everyone is.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's definitely a spectrum.
Yeah. So your yoga membership that you're thinking of canceling, do they have a system where you can pause the membership?
I'm not sure. It's kind of it's just a
just
small
a month
studio.
To month
it's month to month.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean, I could like talk to the owner. Like she texts me like, hey, you haven't been here, you know?
Yeah.
So and that's the other thing. It's a small business, so I want to support that. But yeah, I think I'll still continue to go. I've kind of been waiting to see if now that my schedule lightens up, if I do get back into the routine. But I tend to be kind of streaky with things.
Yeah.
I'll like
go a
lot in one thing and then switch it up. That did remind me though. I think to some extent people perceive the cost of a membership differently for something that's more specialized, right? Like a general gym versus a Pilates studio or martial arts or, you know, very specific activity, which is interesting. Maybe because it's like those other ones you're getting instruction and the facility versus just paying for the facility. But yeah, I don't think you get as much judgment if you say I pay a couple $100 a month for jiu-jitsu or, you know, whatever, boxing.
Yeah, that's very interesting too. And again, it goes to like if F45 is what drives you, or if a dance class is what drives you. Because I've paid like dance memberships too, and it's a very different kind of workout. But obviously, if I want to do strength training, now I got to figure out where I do that to supplement that. But if that's what motivates me, I'm gonna do it. And so I feel like it's the same with like these specialized gyms that cost more. On the perception part, I wonder why that is. It's just.
Yeah, I think maybe there's like, to some extent, probably a difference of like, this is a hobby or a thing that you do versus a place you go to get a workout.
Broad general gym workout. Yeah.
And I think some of that is why you see a difference with people who are like, they identify as like, I lift.
Oh, yeah.
Right? And so they're might be more likely to pay for a certain kind of gym, like a weightlifting specific gym. Like my younger brother did that for a long time. Because that's their interest and a part of their lifestyle versus like, I'm just going to go get a workout in.
Yeah. Okay. Financial costs, we've dug in a lot on the financial cost of gym memberships. It can range and what you get out of it, it just varies. But what are other costs?
Okay, I have one just top of mind.
What?
Because I haven't been going to this yoga studio, I feel guilt.
Oh.
I feel like the other
money.
day on Tuesday, I was going to go and then I just wasn't feeling like it. I had been moving into my new apartment and like busy day. And I felt so much guilt that I was wasting money and that I should go. And that sucks. That's lame.
Yeah.
For what?
Yeah.
It's my choice. It's my money. I have a plan of it, you know, I may cancel it. But yeah, that added pressure that for me makes me push away from something.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
So guilt. Top of mind, I think you mentioned this earlier. So I like going to the gym. I love using different machines, and I prefer it to not be busy. So it's not so much about the people, just the environment. Because if I'm at a gym, I do not want to talk to anyone. I don't want you to come up to me. I don't want a man to come up and try to like tell me I'm using wrong form. And now I think it's interesting because like if someone's using like really bad form that might get themselves hurt, go ahead, correct him or her, right? Correct them, or maybe leave that to a staff member to do. But like for me, I'm just like, that's a cost for me too, is being somewhere in public where someone can bother me. Whereas when I work out at my home gym, I like the privacy of it, but I'm a little less motivated.
Yeah, I get that. It doesn't bother me that much
To talk to people?
Yeah, I like kind of this middle ground where I like when I see the same people and there's like a head nod, you know, or hey, how are you? Like a real quick acknowledgement. I like that kind of sense of community, but not, I don't want to be talked to.
Do you like being hit on?
If they're cute, I don't mind. It depends.
Okay, I guess it's relative.
Yeah, it's relative, right? Like, sure. Although that is a thing of like, are you going to date someone at your gym? Because then what if it doesn't work out and you have to see them at your gym, right?
Yeah.
So that's a faux pas, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah.
It is one of those interesting things in life in general where, you know, like if like some people who are single who say it's hard to meet people, and it's like you can meet people wherever you live with common interests as you, and the gym is usually one of those. But like, similar to me, it's like I had met people in the past that I like, because we play basketball, so like I've met people playing basketball. But when it comes to gym and lifting, I personally don't like that. I'm like,
I mean,
I want a wall up.
I've been hit on a lot at the gym.
Yeah.
And I've been, usually it's like a subtle one.
Like, hey, that's a cool tattoo on your arm.
Always. That's the most, almost every time I go to the gym.
What's that tattoo, Liz?
Yeah, who's your artist? Can you tell me? Can I see it? Yeah, and sometimes maybe that's genuine, but most of the time it's not.
We don't know.
Or recently it was like hey, you're doing yoga? What are you doing? I'm working on this, and could you tell me about it? You know, which I get. It's hard to talk to people.
Yeah.
So I've been hit on a lot. I don't think I've made a lot of friends at the gym through basketball, like a regular gym that has a basketball court. Very good friends.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's the easier social environment to talk to people.
I don't know that I've made any though from lifting. Like, I've lifted with those friends.
Yeah, because what are you gonna do? Like lift? All right, I gotta go to do my next set over here.
Yeah.
Bye. See you.
And I've like made acquaintances where we nod at each other, and I've had people come up to me and stuff. But yeah, I don't think that those have ever translated to friendships.
All right. I'm surprised we're this deep into the episode. But haven't touched on the cost of time.
Oh yeah, for sure. Well, I guess there's kind of two things. There's exercise versus not. Mm-hmm. And I think we're assuming this is someone that's going to exercise somehow, right? So then it's like, are you going to do it at a gym or in your home or outside or some other way?
Right.
But there's probably is added time in a gym, transportation.
All right, we did touch on proximity.
Yeah, proximity. So, getting to and from, waiting for other people to use it. I've had that for sure,
Waiting
especially
for equipment.
Leg day, waiting for a squat rack.
Oh, yeah.
Like, oh my gosh, I have an hour. I've had to change my workout. Like, okay, I only have an hour and I have to wait 25 minutes to get on the squat rack, which you don't do that at the end because it's the hardest one.
Right.
Yeah, that is a cost for sure. That is a cost.
Well, what I wouldn't say I laugh about this, but something I think about too is like, gym going culture, especially. It's very prevalent now globally, but especially in westernized countries, and where we're very stagnant, and you have to seek out exercising. Whereas if you're in a walking city, or if you live in a country where you do more walking, manual labor, and things like that, gyms aren't the culture. It's very interesting that we carve out time of our weeks to go to the gym. To be active.
Right. So this is long since dated, but when I lived in Barcelona in 2008, 2009, it was very much that. It was like a little unusual. There was like a gym chain, and it was very nice. That was probably my first like nice gym.
Yeah.
But it wasn't very busy. There weren't young people. It was kind of abnormal because you get so much exercise just living in the city.
Walking, carrying your things is your strength training.
Seriously.
Up and down hills, up and down stairs. Yeah. So I just think it's
a big cultural difference.
Big cultural difference, but interesting to think of, like having to actually carve out time if you want to exercise and be fit, and then the time that it takes to get there, do the thing. Like for me too, it's like, showering after. Do you wear makeup this day, not that day? Are you going to sweat it off? Is it going to go in my eye? So it depends. Like it determines how often I wash my hair and when.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of implications.
For sure.
Not like, this is just a part of life. I'm not saying one way or the other that it's
just
like
a thing.
It's just a thing that you have to like think of.
It's interesting. My relationship with that has shifted over time. So for many years, I was a gym rat. Like I was in there every day. I was super fit, and it was, part of my lifestyle, but it was very, very important to me. Like next to work, it was probably the most important thing. And some of that changed for different reasons, but a lot of it was the pandemic and not having access to a gym and or sports leagues, and having to prioritize other ways to be active. And then in the past year or so, where I've been living in a different place, my routine's changed a lot. I am more inclined to work activity in throughout my day. Having a dog helps, like just going on lots of walks and that kind of thing, and being comfortable with that if I don't make it to the gym some days, and being like, oh, well, I still got a lot of steps. Most of the time, the days I burn the most calories or get the most steps are the days I'm cleaning or like doing errands, That's like, most active.
But I guess it depends on where we have the privilege to choose where we want to be active. Because I used to be like that too. I'm like, oh, today's workout will just be cleaning the house. But I don't like how that feels on my back sometimes.
Yeah,
so
sure.
I'd rather outsource the housekeeping.
Sure.
And then go to the gym and do it that way, which is kind of funny. But it's just
your life, your money, your choice.
Are you a morning or evening gym person?
I have been both. For my most active period, like when I was such a gym rat, I would go immediately after work. And I looked forward to it all day. So that was kind of like my motivation. And then it was part of my routine, so I didn't go home and sit. Yeah. That's the hard part, like getting yourself to have to go back out. Then I got into a morning period. They always say, like, it's better for you in the morning, and I really felt the benefits of that for a long time. Right now, my routine is afternoon. I'll go for a walk in the morning. Yeah. But I might switch that up. Like I went for a run this morning with my dog, and I felt amazing after. And I'm like, oh yeah. Yeah.
Endorphins.
So, endorphins.
Sure. This is random, but a gym experience I just remembered was when Alan and I went to Uganda, in Kampala, and we went to get massages at this bougie gym that his cousin recommended to us. And it was like towards the end of our trip, and I'm like, oh my God, why didn't we come at the beginning of the trip? Because if I knew about this, I would have gone every day. Yeah. So basically, when you like book a facial or a massage treatment, you get access to the gym, so you could come earlier. And it was like a time slot thing too. So like when we went, we only had like 15 minutes to actually do weights. So we didn't bake enough time in before the treatments, but it was like it was a gym to ourselves. It was like they time slotted it so that you're not really interfering. No one else interferes with your workout, and it's brand new equipment, and it was really nice. And I'm like, yeah, but maybe it's because the culture there is not so much gym going. Yeah, interesting. And so for the few gyms that there are there, it's like less people. So it's kind of weird.
Coming back to like what you value in a gym experience. So as I've mentioned, like weightlifting's big in my family. Like bodybuilding has just been a thing I grew up with. And so we have this like half joking dream that will probably happen one day of starting a gym. Yeah. And but it's funny. My dad and my brother are very into like old school, like 70s weightlifting. Like they bought all these vintage weights. I don't like them. It's like, the steel plates. Yeah. I don't like them. I feel like I'm going to smash my toe. Yeah. I want the bumper plates. But anyway, so they have this dream for this gym that's kind of a business, except they just want to break even because they don't want to have very many people that go there and use their gym.
Yeah, but you got tax write-offs in there. You got
and my dad's like, I'll do
clients.
this in my retirement.
Yeah.
So they want to like timeshare it. So like everyone that's a member has a key, but it's only
Specific time.
yeah, you block your time.
Yeah.
You have the gym to
Genius.
yourself. Yeah, but
That's
I
gotta
don't
exist
I
somewhere.
don't like that because I want to be around the
Around
people. But for them,
you like the randomness of who.
yeah, I like the energy.
Yeah,
yeah.
It's a
But they
different
were like,
adventure.
don't touch my shit.
Yeah.
I want to have this, commercial gym
I
that
think-
no one is
I think
at.
there's room for both, and if they don't start that business, I think I
I know.
might.
I just put it out there.
Yeah.
I'm telling them I want to do it with them.
I mean, not that there's scarcity. There's
Yeah.
room for that in every
Yeah.
market.
All right. We're gonna
Yeah.
join forces
Well,
on
all
this. Yeah.
All right. Any other thoughts on costs to gym memberships? Beside, I think financials a big one, and
Cleanliness.
yeah,
Access to germs,
comfort.
just
Your-
in
your
general.
Germs.
Yeah.
Right. My infection, but like, gym is a place where you can go to, where you might get sick because you're in a shared space, but it's a space where there's like fluids coming off your body.
Sweat, and people are
sweat.
breathing heavy.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. It was always interesting, like when people were wearing masks at the gym.
But you're still sweating.
You're still sweating. Yeah, your sweat's all over stuff.
Yeah, but I guess that's just comes with life, right? You go to the grocery store, you're going to run into people,
yeah.
but it's just an additional.
Heightened.
I think heightened probability because of the heavy breathing,
Yeah,
the
for sure.
bodily fluids,
Yeah.
shared space. Yeah. All right.
All right.
20 cents.
20 cents.
20 cents is the segment of the show where both Lizzy and myself, Lissa, each get 60 seconds to give our 2 cents on today's topic, whether it's a net positive or net negative for gym memberships. Where does 20 cents come from?
So you get the opinion of 2 dimes, y'all.
2 dimes. All right, for you in your life at this moment in time, Liz, are gym memberships worth it?
I am net positive on gym memberships. I pretty much always have been in my adult life because I tend to go for affordable gym memberships. So even if I have a period where I'm focused on something else, like training for a triathlon, I was outdoors or, doing some other activity as my priority, it feels affordable enough to me to have as a backup that I can pop in like once a week or, it serves a purpose to just have it. And then there's been periods, obviously, when I'm very consistent. So I think the benefits for me of the motivating factor is the biggest thing versus like a home workout or any other iteration of that. And I just enjoy that experience.
So net positive
Net
gym
positive.
memberships, even if there are months you don't use it, you just like having it there regardless.
I like having it there, yeah.
Okay.
What about you?
This is funny because I think if we go back on all our episodes, I probably have way more net positives than Liz. But gym memberships, I told you, we just canceled ours right now. So at this moment in time, for the foreseeable future, let's say next 3 to 6 months minimum, net negative.
Yeah.
Because we don't have time to go. We're planning our wedding. We have a home gym. We have our other apps. I have the Peloton app. Alan has his HIIT app. And we are finding our motivation in different ways. Like I took a random hip hop step dance class this week. So I'm like doing other workouts that don't require me to pay a gym membership. But I will say that this is only net negative for right now. I fully foresee us going back to a gym when we find one that works for our needs, proximity, because I think we might move after the wedding.
Yeah.
So finding a new gym, a good one that fits all of our needs, we'll be back at it. But right now, we're saving this money. And still getting our fitness in.
Yeah.
So net negative.
All right. I like that answer because, again, it's this point in time.
Yeah.
What works for you with your given lifestyle, and this is evolving. We can all change, y'all.
Yeah, and I like your answer because a lot of people feel guilty when they're like paying for this monthly membership and they're like, dang, I haven't gone in 2 months. What a waste, what a waste, what a waste. But at the same time, if that can motivate you to go more often, or if it's just having that you go through phases where 6 months you're on, 6 months you're off, but it makes you, it's easier to just keep it.
Yeah.
There's lots of different scenarios.
And you can pause.
And you can.
FYI, if you don't know.
Okay, quick thing. I meant to mention this earlier. Another thing that pissed me off with the Bougie membership that we had.
Yeah.
To pause, unless you had a medical reason, you were still charged, I want to say $30 or $40 per
that's
month,
a
like
lot.
$30, like a whole
Yeah.
gym membership of
Yeah.
another place. So it was like a lot.
Yeah.
It wasn't just like a $5.
Yeah, some of them were like
thing.
5 or 10
It was-
to pause, which is nice. You know, if you know you're going to be traveling for a month or just life is crazy.
Yeah.
You don't have to go through the process of canceling, signing up
Yeah,
again.
because they have like an initiation
Initiation
fee.
fee,
So
some of
anyway,
them. Yeah, anyway.
that annoyed me too. That's why it's
Oh, yeah.
negative. But yeah, all right. So this is what we think right now in our lives at this moment in time. Liz is net positive for gym memberships. She probably will be forever,
Yeah.
maybe. I'm net negative right now. But let us know what you think. Oh, wait. What's my line?
Can't nobody make
Nobody can make that decision but you. What do you think? Are gym memberships worth it?
Hit us up. Let us know what you think. DM us on Instagram at NetNetPodcast or email us at hi@netnetpodcast.com. And if you want to follow us individually, here's where you can find us.
I'm at Wealth for Women of Color on TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
And I'm at live_well_Lizzy on Instagram and TikTok.
All references, statistics, and resources mentioned can be found in our show notes. This podcast is for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only and should not be constituted as financial advice or health advice. Remember to always do your own research, consult a professional as needed, and feel empowered to make your own damn decisions.